when I was very young in ancient Greece, in Athens, in I think the 6th century BC. So 2,700 years ago.
So you're like 21 back then?
Yeah, exactly. I had just gotten out of the army. They had a process called ostrakismos, which I love to be able to geek out on Greek. But that ostrakismos is basically was a time when all the Athenian citizens came together in the city and they would vote once a year to find one person that they didn't like and cast them out of the city for 10 years. And they had to get, I think, 6,000 votes, so there had to be like a quorum. But whoever got the most votes, as long as they passed whatever that threshold was, they were out. They were gone for 10 years.
Now.
I was like, that wouldn't bode well for Andrew.
So what that tells you, that word, by the way, ostrakismos, is where we get ostracized.
Yep.
Yeah, ostracism. So what that tells you is a couple of things. One, this has been a part of who people are for a very long time, right? This is not, cancel culture is new in the way we do it, but cancel culture is very much a product of social media, right? It wasn't even really possible to do, before we had Twitter and Facebook and media from which these people could be canceled, right? I'm not going to listen to them on Twitter anymore. In some ways, you could look at Athens and go, is that a good way? Is that some, do we need to have this thing that just sort of purges the undesirable, once a year? I'm not arguing that it is. I just think it's interesting to look at it and go, well, that's, at least a formalized way of doing it rather than all this just sort of
mob
rabble rousing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So always has. I've thought about that many times as cancel culture has sort of grown. As is the existence of cancel culture a symptom of the fact that we don't have a better way of dealing with peoples whose opinions are not valued or welcomed? The problem with ostrakismos in Athens, one of the problems was that it wasn't just used though to like. Theoretically, it was like for this guy who was accused of being a child molester, but they couldn't prove it, right? And so now you had a way to get him out of the city, even though you couldn't prove it. What it ended up being used for, as you might imagine, is people with unpopular opinions. Yep. So this guy might say something, he might cause trouble later. We need to get rid of this guy, and so they would end up voting him off the island, so to speak. Which is what cancel culture has become today, really.